Are you in a monogamous relationship? Do you want to be in a monogamous relationship? Well, there's something really important that we need to understand about monogamy. Because the way we can see or view or understand monogamy can have a huge effect in helping it and also hurting it. So today, we're going to talk about monogamy and how you see it. Check it out. Hi, I'm Brett, your favorite shrink, and today we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, relationships. I love talking about relationships, and today we're going to talk about it from the mind point of view and actually look at some mental neurotransmitters in terms of how monogamy works within our brain. So stick around, check it out. I think you're going to like it. Now, in my practice, I just want to talk about some of the things I do, some of the things I see a lot in my practice. One of them is infidelity. Now, I wish I didn't have infidelity in my practice, but it is what it is. You do what you got to do. You got to help people where they are, and a lot of times couples come in struggling with this issue. Now, believe it or not, there are two ways that we can look at infidelity and look at the whole concept of monogamy. That may seem strange to you because you may think, well, what are two ways you can think of it? It's wrong and it's wrong. Well, there's another way we can think about it, and that is monogamy as a gift. Now, before I get too deep into it, I want to talk about overall, what is monogamy? Is monogamy a natural state or an unnatural state? And I tend to believe, and I'll make this argument for us, here in this beginning, I want to summarize and just stay out there. Monogamy is not a natural state. Not at least for men, unfortunately, most men. But that's not a bad thing. That means that monogamy needs to be a gift. It needs to be something that we are committing to and giving our lives to, even though it's not our natural desire, our natural state. So let me dial it back and start breaking that down and tell you how that could be, how those two things could be. First off, I want you to talk a little bit about the brain, about how the brain works. And to do that, I want to teach you about two little critters we actually have around here in Utah. They're voles. Now, I didn't even know what a vole was. Talk with my hick accent. I didn't even know what a vole was until I got here in Utah. A vole is a little tiny mouse. And in fact, its common name is called meadow mouse. And it looks a lot like a normal mouse, but its tail's a little bit shorter and body's kind of flat and fat. But they're still pretty cute. And they're about the same size as mice. There's two species of voles around here. One is called the mountain vole, and the other, it's called the prairie vole. And they look exactly identical. What distinguishes them between each other is their marital habits, their relational habits, their breeding habits. See, in the mountain voles are monogamous. They pick a partner, they mate with that partner, and then that's it. That is their life. They don't mess with any other partners. They don't have any other partners. If that partner dies, they never breed again. Prairie voles are a little different than the mountain voles. Prairie voles are sluts. Prairie voles like to have sex with as many different partners as they absolutely can. And what's interesting about these two different breeding habits is that it seems to be more biological than learned. As we look at the physiology of a mountain vole and a prairie vole, what we find is that they're identical. They're identical in every single way. except one small molecule within the brain called oxytocin. Now, oxytocin is often thought of as the love hormone. And this is why. Because in those mountain voles that were monogamous, they had tons of it. They had lots of it. And in the prairie voles, they don't have very much at all. Now, wouldn't that be great to add to your spouse's supplementary list? Here's some vitamin C and some vitamin D, and oh, here's some oxytocin. Well, unfortunately, oxytocin is a rather large molecule, and it cannot penetrate the blood-brain barrier. So it's not like we could just take a supplement and be good with it. It's a little bit more complicated than that. But that's what it comes down to, what makes men and women different. What makes men and women different is this molecule. Now, women obviously have lots of it, men not so much. And so what that means is that women really want to be monogamous and want to have one partner and one partner only. And to them, that feels absolutely 100% normal and natural. And for them, it is normal and natural. But also on the guy's side, who don't have as much oxytocin, it's not natural. For them, they want to have as many partners as they possibly can. I remember one time a gal came in and she wanted to see what her husband was looking at in terms of pornography. And I said, this is not a good idea. You really don't want to do this. But she wanted to kind of compare. She wanted to kind of see what it is I'm missing. What is it I'm doing wrong? What is it I don't have? What are you looking at? What are you wanting that I'm not giving you? And the answer was variety. He's not looking at blondes, brunettes. He's not looking at big boobs or small boobs. He's not looking at young or old. That's not the issue. The issue is variety. See, as gals out there, I'm sure you don't know this, but a guy never looks at the same piece of pornography twice. It's boring. Why would he do that? That seems lame. What guys look at is variety. They keep looking at different pictures. You ever seen a guy's old Playboy stash? It was like this tall. Why? Because the same picture didn't work. He wanted variety. And that's because of the way his brain is wired. Let me give you some statistics to kind of help, again, normalize our argument here. Research shows that 63%, that's above average. That's more than half, obviously, of men somewhere in their lifetime had an extramarital affair. They cheated on their spouse. 45% of women do that. That's pretty high too, to me. As we look at the research, not at necessarily infidelity, but pornography, we see that for 16 to 18-year-old boys, 90% of them, 90% have looked at pornography within a given month. The other 10%, they lie. With older men, 18 to 30, 79% of them, 80% of them, 8 out of 10 are looking at pornography at least once during the month. As the age goes up, the numbers go down slightly. I think 30 to 50, the viewing is 2/3 of guys look at pornography at least once during the month. As we get into 50 and older, about half of the guys are looking at pornography at least once in the month. Guys' brains are wired differently than gals' brains because of that missing chemical called oxytocin. Now, here's why I don't think this is a bad thing. Here's why I don't think we need to give up. I think for marriage, for monogamy to mean something, it has to be a gift. If it was natural, if it was easy, if it was something that men could do and did without even thinking twice about, how significant would that be? Remember my video we did on male love? We looked at how a sacrifice for a man is what love is measured by. The greater the sacrifice, the greater love. If a man gives you $1, it doesn't mean that much. You don't mean that much. If he gives you $1,000, $10,000, $1 million, he's saying something. You mean something to him. You're significant to him. You're a sacrifice that he's doing because he loves. If there's no sacrifice, there's no love. That's what I want you to see. That's the way I want you to reframe this issue with monogamy. Monogamy really, historically, is really new. Maybe 100 years, maybe 200 years, we've really started to practice it for what it is. But before that, before 200 years ago, which isn't that long ago at all, monogamy was loosey-goosey stuff. I just went to Europe, and we were in Amsterdam, and we saw Rembrandt's house. And in Rembrandt's house, they kind of talked about all the different household members, and he had his wife, and he had his girlfriend, his mistress. His mistress was a friend of his that he'd known all of his life from elementary school. She just lived there. She lived there as part of the family. That was normal. That was accepted. That was a part of what was. And that's the way it has been for centuries. Monogamy is a new thing. Monogamy is something that we're trying to seriously practice. And I believe in it 100%. I believe we need to practice it. But it's not normal. And that's okay. And that's okay for two ways. One, it's okay because it's a sacrifice, and it should be. It should be a gift that men give. And if your man is struggling with pornography or even with fidelity, set boundaries, set limits, set things that you can feel safe by, but don't be hurt. Don't take it personally. Don't think that you could be prettier, you could be smarter, you could be better, and then he would be monogamous. No, it's not about you. His struggle with monogamy is his gift to you. It's not about you. Now, I hope this video was good, and even if it was bad, let me know. I want to hear your thoughts about monogamy. And I also want to hear if you have a question, if you have an issue, if you have something you're struggling with, I want to hear. I want to hear about it so I can help you with it. Go on, ask me a question. If you want some more resources, go to my website, brettrwilliams.com. There I have a book, You Can Be Right or You Can Be Married, which will give you some more tips about relationships as well. I hope to talk to you again. I am Brett, your favorite shrink, and you've been watching my 5 Minds. I'll talk to you soon.